Good afternoon and welcome to the latest edition of Lunchtime Learnings. I'm absolutely delighted to be joined by Luke, the MD from Hatton Home. How are you doing, Luke?
I'm very good, Stephen. How are you?
I'm amazing. Thank you so much for joining me. Congratulations on all your recent successes at the Negotiator. Absolutely fantastic to see all your awards, and great to see your journey in the last, was it 3 years?
Just 3 years, 3 years in 2 weeks' time.
Wow. So incredible journey. You've expanded considerably well. So well done to all of you. So how did you get there? So tell us from the start.
The start of Hatton Home or the start of my journey?
No, your journey, and then we come on to Hatton Home.
Okay, so I started in a state agency on the 1st of August 2011, to be precise. I'm one of the few that actually wanted to be in a state agency, believe it or not, didn't just fall into it. I started working for Romans, who everyone worked for in my area, and half my school I think ended up working for them as well. So there was 4 of us in a group of 15 on our induction that were all from the same school. So that's sort of where it all began, really. I worked there for 8 years. I think, although someone challenged me on this on another podcast not so long ago, I think I worked through the ranks there and became their youngest branch manager. Worked down in their Sandhurst office. Finally, that's where I ended up. Left there to go and work for a small independent 3-office outfit in Wokingham. And then after COVID, I sort of got a bit disillusioned with a state agency, to be honest with you. I think in all honesty, I was probably burnt out from it all. It'd been really hard work. For a long time, I had a young family. So I thought I'd go and try something different. I was knocking on the door of 30 and I thought, if I don't do it now, then I never will. So I went and worked for an IT startup up in London, which lasted all of about 6 months, because I then had this chance meeting or introduction with Ben, who's my business partner, founded Hatton Home, and we've since founded Miller Financial Services together as well. He was starting an estate agency in Wokingham. He'd been working in London for 15 years. I'd been working in Wokingham for years and in the surrounding area for years. I knew everyone that we needed to know. And originally I was trying to put him in touch with some people that might be able to help him start his business. And 3 weeks into our conversation, he said, listen, will you just come on board and do it with me? So after I convinced my other half that just got used to me being around a little bit more, I threw myself back into working however many hours a week, and eight days in a 7-day week. And it's all taken off from there, really. And certainly I haven't looked back on any of those times of my life with regret. It's been great fun. I've worked with some amazing people that are at the top of some really good companies now, and I've learned from them all. So it's been excellent.
Brilliant. Well, let's take it back to Romans.
Yeah.
Okay. What were the lessons that you learned from, starting out as an estate agent to becoming the youngest branch manager?
Consistency with absolutely everything you do. Anyone that you've spoken to, Stephen, or anyone that has worked there or still works there now will be familiar with the DOT system, which you got given a blue day book. If you were seen without that, then you were dead. And if you were seen with it and you hadn't had a dot filled in from the day before, then your life wasn't really worth living. And you were taught to write down everything. You can never forget anything. And there's a chap called Michael Cook, who I think just been made CEO at LRG now. He was my first boss. He interviewed me, scared the living daylights out of me. He said to me, I might never have been the very best estate agent, but I was always the best at following up, and therefore I'd always win the business. And it's so true. So it was consistent. We were held to account. There were KPIs to hit, but it was done in a very good way. There were some very good leaders there at the time. I worked, the likes of Kevin Ellis, Vince Courtney, those types of people that are, elsewhere in the industry now. They were sort of the best of the best at the time. So there was so much to learn from them. And you just learn and you listen to what you were told and you did what you were told and it worked. So once you see things work, you just carry on, you get the bug for it. And I think it's safe to say, after I was only supposed to work there for the summer because I had a place at uni that I promised my parents I'd still take up. After a few months, I was just absolutely addicted to it, and I've been addicted to the industry ever since.
Fantastic. So your parents still asking you when you're going to start uni then?
Yeah, it was at that time where the fees had gone up from like £3,000 to £9,000. So I said, well, it's going to be too expensive to go now. But I was doing well at it, so that was my get out of jail card.
Okay, so I think Miles, the recruiter.
We went to school together as well.
Did you? So I want to know, did they have like careers evening there, Romans, to literally get everybody on board?
They did. What they used to do really well, they used to also go into local schools. So schools would have careers events. So there would always be Romans or another agency that operate in our area would be a sixth form or like a careers convention, if you like. So yeah, they were good at that. And they were good at getting young people into their business, teaching them everything they need to do and progressing them through the careers. And, we've taken parts of that and added to it, and that's what's led us to our success so far. We've got some of the talent we've got inside our business is incredible, and some of these people are people that have not been in agency before, and some of them sort of straight out of education, and they're like sponges when it comes to learning new things and putting it into practice. And like I said about me, you see it come to fruition, and all of a sudden that's just what you get on and do.
Brilliant. Well, look, I know you've got a training academy, and I'd like to come on and speak to that in a bit, if that's okay. But Miles, thanks very much for watching. And Miles says the DOT system has come into the recruitment world also. Smiley face, laughy face.
I'm not surprised at all.
So, what were your lessons then from rising up the ranks to become a branch manager? How did you become? Because there's a lot of talk in the industry, sales negotiators don't make great branch managers. So were you one, or were you just exceptional at both?
No, well, I thought I was exceptional at both at the time, Stephen. I did well as a I worked in quite a small office actually when I was at Ravens, a place called Yateley, and I sold more houses than anyone in a couple of years on the trot actually in the whole business. And you think that was a small office, and okay, we'd had a couple of good years, but I was good at selling. I then got into listing, and I was good at it. I absolutely loved it. That feel of the win, which to be honest, I still try and dip my hand in every now and then now because I still love it. And then I became a manager, and you're quite right. There's a lot of talk, and that the best estate agents don't make the best managers, and I think that's completely true because it's a completely different job. And what you find in a lot of businesses, you're expected to do your listing job and your managing job, and they are two completely different roles. I was young as well. I was 23 at the time. My team were all older than me, and I think I knew best. I thought I knew best. I didn't know best because you don't at that age with very little life experience. So the lesson I learned, I think, it's funny actually, once I had my kids, so my daughter, we were quite young when we had our first, I was 24, my partner was 23. After I'd had her, I think you get a different perspective on life, you meet different people, you sort of don't sweat the small stuff as such. And after that, I changed a lot, and something I learned very on in my agency career as well is if there's a problem, then you've got to deal with it, especially when it comes to your people. And when I look back on my period as a manager, I ended up with what was a really good team, but we could have got that good team sooner if I'd acted and protected the culture in that office that I was running. So yeah, I learned loads, as you do, and sometimes you learn the hard way, and sometimes you learn from people's advice.
Good. I'm laughing because I got the dog by my side. I'm trying to write down notes, and he's trying to get attention.
Mine's been taken out, Stephen. I couldn't risk the bark.
Mine, I guarantee, mine bark. You can tell this is live. This is real. It's all happening. Okay. So we have dog. We used to have a parrot, but the parrot's no longer with us. So, anyway, so coming back, you talked about being good at selling. So, what does that look like to you? What's a good salesman? Why were you the number one 2 years in a row?
Got to be consistently energetic and charismatic, and you've got to understand the needs of the person you are trying to deal with. And it is as simple as that, whilst being consistent with all of that as well. I teach our people about what people want and what people need and the big difference there. And there is a massive difference. And the best agents that I've ever worked with and the best agents that now work with me are the ones that truly understand what people need. They understand their personal circumstances and they adapt to work with that person. I was always, if you had what a lot of people would deem as a difficult client, throw them my way, because I would very quickly unpick them and unravel them and find out actually what the problem is and the problem that they're trying to solve, and get on that level playing field. And they'd buy from me or they'd list their property with me. I went not so long ago. I went out to go and deal with a client who wasn't very happy. Is probably the best way of putting it. And when I got there, what I realised is actually they'd come to the end of their fixed rate mortgage. So we're coming to the end of their mortgage term. They're about to get repossessed. They're in their mid-60s. They've worked for their whole life to live in this house, and basically now the bank are going to take it off of them. We didn't know that. As long as it says, should we have dug deeper? It's not, they were never going to tell us that at the beginning. But I really got under the skin of them, and we came out. Everyone was happy by the time we came out of it. And I said, you might not like what I'm going to tell you, but it's going to be the best advice you get. And if you follow it, we'll get you out of the situation. We're all hugging and shaking hands by the end of the meeting. So that need to understand people's needs and what they're actually trying to achieve is so important. And I think gets missed a lot in our industry, because our job is, the fundamentals of the job are bloody easy. And the difficult bit is doing it well, doing it consistently well.
Yeah. So you've mentioned consistent 4 times already.
Yeah, as well.
Do you know, there was a book, actually, somebody sent me a message. How many times do you think Luke is going to say consistent with Stephen in the podcast? So that's my favourite C word as well. It is all about consistency. It is all about getting it done and making sure, but you do it on a consistent basis. So
yeah, exactly.
Totally agree. So look, that's a great story of getting to understand some of this situation. And obviously it's about diagnosing and then coming up with a solution, which you obviously did. How do you train that? How do you get people to do that?
That's really hard. It's actually something I struggle with a lot. I can say to someone, watch me, and I have no problem with that whatsoever. Unpicking that and how you got there is probably the tricky bit. So I've spent a lot, my role's changed massively in the last couple of years. And I spend a lot more of my time now dissecting these situations to work out, right, okay, it's all well and good me saying I did this and I did that, but how did I actually do it? What questions did I ask? And actually listen to a lot of people that do it day to day and also train it to help unpick that and add your spin to it. And that's what I do, basically. There's so many opportunities out there for people to listen to some really, really good names in the industry for free at the touch of a button, whether it be podcast, YouTube, and get those tips and advice. And essentially all I do is sort of listen to that type of stuff to help myself realize, oh yeah, blimey, that's what I've been doing, or that's what I did, or I did it that way, but actually I got the same result or a better result. And then you teach that to your people. And you show them how you do it, but you get to the nitty-gritties of the asking the right questions, doing the right things, and remembering how to do it, and doing it all the time.
Okay, well, let's give our listeners some value. So who are those names that people should be looking out for and listening to?
Oh, there you go. So there's loads. I know Ian White, obviously, through Miles and Crux. He's quite often on Chris Watkins' show. You should definitely listen to him. People like Matt Giggs, Ian McKenzie as well. When you listen to these guys talk, especially about the market that we're in at the moment, what they say makes so much sense. And regardless of all the extra add-ons now you can have in our industry, from prop tech to outsourcing, all of that stuff, the fundamentals of what we do are very much the same. There's just more added in. And you hear people sort of article flash up before we jumped on this about prices are going to drop 4% in 2024. Yeah, and so what? We're here to deliver for our clients, and we've got to remember how to do it. What a lot of business leaders will probably find themselves in a situation throughout this year where they were too late to the party and retraining their people. So we were at the middle of last year thinking, this market's not going to last forever, and we need to do something about it. So we hit training hard then and continue to do that, so we could weather the storm as we went through this year, and it works. But I think if it doesn't have to be the business leaders that listen to these people, it could be the team, and I'll forever ping around something on a WhatsApp group and say, listen to this, and some people will, some people won't, but there's just no excuse for not doing it, I guess, in my view. I've got 2 young kids, run 2 businesses, and have a wild dog that I have to walk every morning. I get a chance to listen to this stuff, so anyone can, and you've got to use it.
100%. So you've got a training academy.
Or the Hat Academy, Stephen, unsurprisingly.
It's not so. I'm surprised it's not called the bowler hat training academy. But look, we'll come on to your branding and your marketing in a bit, if that's okay. But tell us a bit about your training academy, the Hat Training Academy. How often does it meet? And what are the sort of things that you're training? Obviously, we talked about the market there, and how to deal with that and what's going to happen. But what else tips and training are you giving them?
So Hat Academy is a session that we run bi-weekly throughout the year. What we teach in those sessions is completely dependent on the needs of the business at that time, and we split the group. So we'll have our property associates or our negotiators in some sessions. We'll have our listers and managers in other sessions. There might be certain sessions that some people benefit from, some people don't, and we invite anyone's free to attend, but we invite people that's going to be more relevant to. We talk about things like having the right market chat, how to overcome objections on things like FS, how to deliver feedback correctly, how to conduct a marketing review with clients, how to justify fee, all the types of things that the nuts and bolts of a estate agency, I guess. And sometimes a lot of it might just be the same session repeated only 3 months later, but some people just need a reminder because you're in the thick of it, and I completely get that. Fees is a massive thing for us. We went on a big journey about a year ago to increase our fees. We got some external trainers in, and the way that's worked has been phenomenal. From a commercial perspective, we've probably been able to continue growing because of it. But the people that are going out there now fighting tooth and nail for an instruction, which people do. We work in some big markets and some very good markets. We've got some good competition. And we charge more than most of them day in, day out. And the people that at the beginning said it was never going to be possible are now the ones that are goading the others with their great fees. But it's great, and it really works. But again, it just comes back to that, constantly having these conversations, people feeling like they can pick up the phone to you. I'll always spend some time in our offices. And quite often I'll be asked something, and once you get me on my soapbox, that's it. I'll be telling you all the scripts and everything else that comes with it. But yeah, that's Hat Academy. What we've started doing, because we've got more people now, we've got some fantastic people in our business that are from different businesses, from different sizes and at different stages in their career. We will now, as a senior team, take it in turns to run those sessions. So it used to be just Ben and I that did it. We've got Paul, who is a regional sales director for an agency in London. We've got Dan, who worked with me at Romans, he always used to beat me on the cross-selling awards, which used to really annoy me. So now we can put it into practice and teach everyone else how to do it. So yeah, we've got some good people, and we just utilise the knowledge that we've got within the business, because that's the easiest place to go, and they are the best people.
And how many people have you got working for you?
We've got 31 now across sales, and milliner.
Okay, so I want to come back and talk about that in a sec, but just a quick question on fees. So congratulations on getting your fees up. Do you just think it's a mindset issue?
I think it's 95% mindset. We've employed two team members in the last 8 weeks who have both listed with other agencies at 1%, generally what they charge. And they could go lower if they needed to, just bananas, who have walked in and they're in a 1.5% environment and we don't charge any less. And they have absolutely smashed it. And I've asked both of them, how have you done it so easily? And so, well, we just don't have a choice, and therefore we just get on with it, and we're confident when we deliver it, and we know we can back it up over here because we've got all this marketing, and we've learned all of that. But actually, we just come out with it and we get it signed up, and it's as simple as that. So yeah, I think most of it is mindset.
Yeah, I remember I was doing some work with an agency, and we did a whole assessment of everybody in the business, and some conversion rate was at 70% and some was at 40%. Some were getting 1% and some were getting 2.25%. So we went to the 2.25% who were converting at 70% and said, why? Well, because when I first started, I got told the investment in our services is 2.25%, and that's it. We don't negotiate, we don't do everything. So we go in with a mindset, it's 2.25%. And we demonstrate our value and we demonstrate our worth. So
absolutely, and it works. People will pay it if they see the value. They will pay it. And we've got all the stats that back it up, and we'll secure more. In all of our areas, we sell more of the stock we take to market. Our marketing's great, our officers are great, our people are great, we give them a great service. Our sellers get added into a WhatsApp group if they want to. They get their regular feedback. We do a 4-week marketing review, all that stuff. People want that service, and I think we're at that stage where there's sort of no excuse to charge a poor fee, really.
Couldn't agree more with you. Come from the same school. So, building a business, 2 of you gone to now 31. How have you managed to build a business and get up to 31? How do you manage to find these people? How do you manage to recruit? I know that's a lot of questions in one.
Absolutely. So how have we built it? Sheer grit, determination and pig-headedness at times is probably how we've grown it. So yeah, February 2021, Ben and I were stuffing envelopes on a borrowed table from a cafe opposite our Wokingham office because our desk hadn't arrived yet and the heating didn't work and it was freezing. We were in lockdown and we went out there and we did everything we could to get houses on the market and sell them and give everyone a fantastic service. Our mission is to make moving home a fantastic experience, and that's what we did. How we grew it from there was we're always thinking 6 months to a year in advance of where we are and how the business is going to look at that point and what do we need to do now to make sure that we get there. From a commercial perspective, sometimes that does mean bringing people in earlier than you need them because you're going to need them in 6 months' time, and you'd rather have someone now who's really good and you can get them working how we work and have them fully embracing the culture, so that when they're fully up and running, we're already where we are in our plan. We've not been afraid to invest in our growth. Everything we've made has gone back into the business in terms of growth, which is how we've managed to open 5 offices in the last 3 years. In terms of people's a really, really interesting one. Once Ben and I had started, we were quite lucky. We started during lockdown. We weren't allowed to open our offices, which some people would think is a massive disadvantage. To us, it was a huge advantage because there was only 2 of us. And if anyone remembers that market, it was basically just trying to control your diary was the most difficult bit, really. It certainly wasn't selling. So it worked really well for us. But what we very quickly realised is what you can do with 2 people who, while self-proclaimed, were very good, was phenomenal. And actually, as we go on this journey, we will have the best people working with us. And that's what we've continued with. We brought in some sort of key hires in the early days that were from local agencies, and you know what the industry's like. At sort of like a higher level, on a local level, it's even more incestuous, probably the way to put it. People know people, and people were willing to follow these people, and I think it says a lot when you. Someone like me, for example, working in this sort of what was a startup, and all anyone could see in the first outset was just a load of hats, to then seeing that actually we were really going to carve a market for ourselves. And then you bring in one after the other, who then attract others, and everyone talks about this great culture and the things we do for our people. And it's great that you've got to work hard. And we certainly don't take any prisoners, but my God, what you get in return is phenomenal. And we've carried on with that, really, and we've got some fantastic people in our business, and I think if you're in this day and age, if you're going to attract the best people, you really have to think about how you operate as a business. So we've got two members in our team, in our tenancy services team, who've both got young children. They work certain hours and certain days around having those children at home, sometimes with them while they work. And I would say that they get more done in their 5 hours than some people would do in a 11, 12-hour day or even a couple of days. But they work hard because we give them the platform to be allowed to. And so it continues. And work with guys like Miles at Crux to find people when we need them. But actually, I'm always meeting people who are interested in joining us. And sometimes you're trying to work out how you can get these people in when you don't really have a role for them, and we've reached that point now, which is where we wanted to get to. So it's great. And then you look after them, you train them. We took a team of, there was 8 of us that went on we did an award trip to Mallorca, which reminded me how old I actually am now. Everyone was fighting for that prize. We've got a ski trip we're doing in February, March next year. Everyone's got 15 days until that closes. So everyone, the people that are nearly there are absolutely gunning for it at the moment, which is great. So, you get the best people, you look after them, and you allow them to move forwards. And the other thing I'd say on people as well, because we're big on it, we're not afraid of it. Everyone that's in our business is probably in a role that they wouldn't be able to be in if they were elsewhere in a bigger company, especially around us. Ben's never owned a business before this. I've certainly never been an MD before this. I've got one of my managers who actually, in terms of estate agent experience, has less than a lot of other people, but has had fantastic customer service background, is an absolute trooper, knows what they're doing, can lead their team. She's got a role with us that she probably wouldn't have elsewhere, because she's great, and she can be trusted to get on with it. And you inspire these people and give them the confidence to get on and do the job they've been given to do.
Brilliant. And I love all your values. And so embrace excellence, be the class SWAT.
Yeah.
It's not about us, our customers are our company. Sprinkle some stardust, so be energetically consistent. Have courage, move forward with high impact, put our hands up, serve our community, take ownership, have a positive impact of the environment. So where did they all come from, and what do they mean to you and your team?
So they were thought up, and now I have to give Ben the credit for this. These were already in the making, or already been decided before I jumped on board with him. But listen, these 6 values underpin everything we do in our business. Every decision that's made on the floor, so to speak, and every decision that Ben and I will make about how we move forward with something. We live them and we breathe them. So do our teams. I think it's important that we mention, our mission, which is our vision, which is to make moving home a fantastic experience. That's what we're here to do. It's as simple as that. And if you walked into any of our 5 offices now and asked people, what is Hatton Home's why, is to make moving home a fantastic experience. And that's what has so far got us to where we are. We've got some favourites in there. There's always some favourites when it comes to the values. Sprinkle stardust, be energetically consistent. It's got the word consistent in it, so obviously you can imagine that's top of mind. Have courage, move fast with high impact. There's been so many opportunities, conversations, both positive and difficult, over the last 3 years. And every single time we move fast with high impact. We're very decisive. We get on with it. If we're going to do something, we do it properly. It's when you start working within the business, you start to see all of this in its true light. Put our hands up, serve our community. The amount of money that we've donated in terms of sponsorship to local schools, clubs, actually it's massive for a business of our size. And some of the work that we do with Parkinsons UK, which we'll go on to talk about, I'm sure, a testament to that as well.
Look, it's absolutely incredible what you're doing, and you're right. We'll come on to that in a sec, if that's okay. I just want to move away from. So you set up one business.
Yeah.
Obviously, you did that wasn't enough, so you set up Milliner Financial Services. So yes. What was the drive to go into that, and how does that help you as an agency?
Yeah, so the two come hand in hand. Obviously, most of our buyers need a mortgage. Most of our sellers need a mortgage. Being blunt about it, we were referring our business to another company, and Ben and I sat there from the beginning. We'd always said we'd do it at some point, but we sat there thinking, right, we're passing this business to these guys. They're doing a good job, and it gives us an element of control. And the element of control, the way we see it, is yes, in typical estate agency terms, you want that element of control because you get your deals through quicker, they're more safe, and so on and so forth. But also, if we have control at every touch point of someone's journey, we can make moving home a fantastic experience. So if you're passing your clients off to FS brokerage over here and a lawyer over here, and they're nothing to do with you, but they might be good, you're not in control of making moving home a fantastic experience, and that's what it's about for us. So we set up Milliner Financial Services in May of this year. That's been a great success. It's not easy to get. Estate agents aren't regulated, right? We talk about it all the time. Brokers are, and what the FCA don't know about me, my inside leg measurement. I think I was one phone call away from being asked on my school report, to be honest with you. It opens your eyes to a lot of it. So what that's enabled us to do is give our clients a great service. It's enabled us to protect our pipeline as well. We can sniff out a problem sooner, we can deal with it sooner. Our broker is extremely thorough, gives a great service, and our teams are starting to see the benefit of referring their clients to Milliner. So we're on a journey. We're on a journey with Milliner, certainly a growth journey, and it's paid dividends in so many different ways for the business. And honestly, I don't know why more people don't do it. But then there's a lot of things we do that I don't know why people don't do.
Brilliant. What else are you doing that people should be doing then, that you can share?
Well, creating a fantastic work environment. We take people in from big businesses that are well known, and people come in and say, "Blimey, this is like a breath of fresh air. I can't believe you do that." And all we've done is put some Easter eggs out on the Thursday before Good Friday. So you think, blimey, that's. But they're the things. It's these tiny noticeable things that we do consistently that make it a great place to work. And you have great people in a great place to work, they'll give a great service, and your return will be great.
100% agree. So you touched on what you're doing in your community and all the sponsorship and the amazing work you're doing for Parkinsons. Yes. I know you've just hit over £50,000, which is absolutely incredible. So congratulations. So, I believe Ben's got Parkinson's, and obviously that's a driving force about it. That's incredible what you're doing, and you should all be very proud. So how can people that are watching this maybe get involved with Parkinson's, donate, learn a little bit more?
So get in touch with us via LinkedIn. And Ben last week put out a really good video that he was asked to produce by Parkinsons UK, who we work really closely with now. They tell about his story and what we've done so far to raise that money. Get in contact via LinkedIn. If you go to our website and our community page, you'll see more about it, and you can donate from there as well. We've done all sorts. You know, we started off with a cake sale and a sponsored run, and now we've got people jumping out of planes. There's all sorts planned for next year, wind walks. But what we try to do, Stephen, is give people an experience for their donations. So you can raise money through doing these smaller fun things. But what you'll find is, people get giving fatigue after a while with those types of things. I know what it's like as a parent. I'm forever donating to something. So what we've started doing now is doing more. So we did a charity quiz and auction last year in April, raised £5,000 from that from one evening, which is brilliant, and some really great donations from some very generous people for the auction prizes. Next year we've got a clay pigeon shoot day being booked. We're going to do a ball. There's loads. We want to raise another £100,000 the next year. So it's a tall order, but we're completely committed to it, and everyone at Home gets involved, which is brilliant.
Brilliant. So again, how do you get that buy-in? So let's go on to implementation and taking action, because that's important. Everybody has to be on the same page. You know, I know going back to my Boon and Co days, you know, we did exactly the same things, and we had these fun days on a Sunday. But trying to get everybody to come along on a Sunday to do them when it was their own personal time was a challenge.
Yeah. Firstly, you hire the best people and you hire the right people who buy into your culture. And you know, we're not afraid to say that, and we're also not afraid to say that if people don't buy into our culture, then they probably won't be at home for very long. Not because they don't turn up to a charity event, because believe it or not, I didn't turn up to throw myself out of the plane either. But you get people on board with it. You know, some of the stuff we do is within work time, so I guess there's a level of expectation there. But our guys and girls, you know, Ben's very open and honest about his story. We've shown them what we've done before they've been here, and we've shown them what we're planning to do. And it's like anything, you know, we did a kick-off meeting at the beginning of our last financial year and shared with our team what our vision was for the business for the next 12 months to get their buy-in, and they ask about it throughout the year, and we update them throughout the year, to the point where when we got to the beginning of our last financial year, it's like, when's the kick-off meeting? And it just all comes back to that culture. You know, it's the same reason that people come into the office every day, and you know, one of our offices in particular, there's a whacking great tree outside that's forever falling, you know, leaves falling off of it. That floor gets swept every single morning. Why? Because Ben and I swept that floor every single morning at 7:30, day in, day out. And the number of people we spoke to whilst doing it was just unbelievable. But they do it now still, even when we're not there, because it's a culture and it's cemented.
I've thoroughly enjoyed our time, so thank you very much. I'm grateful for you giving up your time at lunchtime, so thank you. People want to get hold of you, how do they find you, Luke?
You'll find me on LinkedIn. You might want to copy and paste my surname because it's not an easy one. My details are on our Meet the Team page. Feel free to reach out.
Brilliant. Well, look, thanks very much for your time. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Please like it, please share it. Luke, I look forward to seeing your further successes in your journey, because what you've achieved in 3 years is incredible, with your 5 offices, 2 companies, growing up to 31 colleagues. Your culture is brilliant. Absolutely love watching you from afar. I love your branding. I think your branding is second to none. Absolutely exceptional. So thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. And have a good day. Cheers.